Pickup truck prices aren't just dipping, they're about to fall off a cliff. Why? Because automakers got greedy, factories got reckless, and buyers finally said enough. There's a $25,000 crash coming, and no one's warning you. Until now. This is more than a sale. It's a financial reckoning. And if you buy a new truck before 2026, you're driving straight into it. Those summer savings and employee pricing deals, that's not generosity, that's panic. Manufacturers are desperately hiding a catastrophic inventory crisis as over 300,000 unsold trucks bake in the summer sun nationwide. Some models are sitting for 150-plus days, despite dealers slashing prices every week. Meet Jason, a welder from Idaho. He paid $72,000 for a new Sierra Denali in March. 2 months later, the same truck sat unsold on the same lot for $58,000. With incentives. "I feel like I got robbed in broad daylight," he told us. "Nobody warned me this was coming. You might think this is just another market correction. It's not. What's happening is the collapse of a decade-long lie. Truck makers abandoned their core customers to chase luxury profits, and the bill is finally coming due. But what buyers didn't know was that automakers were about to light their own pricing structure on fire. Internal documents show manufacturers have known for years they were building trucks fewer and fewer people could actually afford. They watched average prices soar from $38,000 in 2015 to over $61,000 today, a 60% jump that left working Americans behind. The trucks weren't just unsold, they were unsellable. Even more shocking, we've obtained factory retooling schedules showing major manufacturers are already planning completely different, dramatically cheaper trucks for 2026. Designs that will make your current year purchase look like yesterday's technology at tomorrow's price. The dealer didn't sell you a truck, they sold you a trap with wheels. Why are pickup prices about to collapse? And what makes 2026 the year everything changes? Let's break down the 7 forces creating this perfect storm. Factors the automotive media won't touch because they're too dependent on manufacturer advertising. Are you holding off buying until 2026? Or did you already get burned? Tell me in the comments. Someone might learn from your story. Peak truck has arrived. The American pickup has finally hit its breaking point after years of bloating beyond what buyers can afford, want, or even practically use. The collapse is coming. By early summer 2025, the warning signs became impossible to ignore. Dealer lots overflowing with trucks, inventory levels surging past 90 days supply, double what's considered healthy. Some dealerships reporting full-size trucks sitting for 120-plus days without a single test drive. Want to know what that means? Billions in unsold trucks literally depreciating in the sun every single day. I don't need a spaceship. I need a truck. Those weren't my words. That was a viral TikTok from an Iowa contractor pointing at a $65,000 Ram 1500. It's been viewed 9 million times because it hit a nerve. Truck buyers feel betrayed by brands they've tattooed on their bodies. Maria had been saving for her first truck for 3 years. She thought she scored at $39,000. Then she saw the exact same model listed for $32,000 3 states over. Her words, "I felt scammed." Nobody tells you prices are completely made up. The numbers don't lie. Truck prices jumped 60% since 2015, while wages went nowhere near that. This isn't sustainable. It's a bubble. And for owners of premium trims currently selling above $70,000, you're staring down a $20,000 loss in the next 18 months. These trucks used to haul lumber. Now they just haul debt. Buyers are revolting. After years of bending to whatever price tag manufacturers slapped on, pickup customers have finally hit their limit, and the rebellion is spreading fast. The rebellion is spreading. The American consumer didn't just walk away from new trucks, they slammed the door. Dealership traffic has collapsed 36% year over year, with salespeople describing showrooms as ghost towns, specifically in the truck section. Entry-level trucks that sold for $28,000 in 2015 now start in the mid-$40,000. Top trims have crashed through the $100,000 barrier. Yet the core functionality, the whole reason people buy trucks, hasn't meaningfully improved. You're paying luxury car prices for features you never asked for. Heated tailgates, digital massage seats, holographic displays. When did work vehicles need spas? A truck is supposed to be a tool, not a tech showcase that requires software updates to haul mulch. Social media blew this revolt wide open. Facebook groups and Reddit communities turned local frustrations into national movements. Buyers who once negotiated in isolation now share screenshots of dealer offers across state lines, exposing price games that worked for decades. For automakers who built entire business models around pushing prices higher every year, this isn't just a problem, it's an extinction-level event. Their factories keep stamping out trucks at price points the market has already rejected. And then Ram fired the first shot and everything collapsed. Electric disruption accelerates. The electric pickup was supposed to be a premium cash cow. Instead, it's become the wrecking ball that's demolishing the entire truck pricing structure, the EV pricing shock. While Ford and GM positioned their electric trucks as $80,000 plus luxury items, a new player called Slate just rewrote the rules completely. Their bare-bones electric pickup costs under $20,000 after incentives, less than half what an entry-level F-150 costs. This isn't just competition, it's an existential threat. The Slate doesn't offer leather seats or 15-inch screens. What it offers is the return to what trucks were supposed to be, affordable utility. It's closer to the honest work trucks of the 1990s than today's chrome-laden luxury barges, just with a battery instead of an engine. Dealers report customers explicitly mentioning the Slate during negotiations. Not because they want one, but because its price point exposed the emperor has no clothes. Why does your base truck cost $45,000 when they can build one for $20,000? It's a question salespeople have no good answer for. Tesla's Cybertruck stumbled with production delays and $65,000 base prices, far from the promised $39,000. Ford's Lightning plateaued after initial enthusiasm, with inventory now piling up. But Slate doesn't need to be perfect, it just has to be cheaper. That alone shifted the battlefield. 0% interest? Zero chance you're getting a fair deal. The EV disruption isn't just changing who builds trucks, it's exposing the massive profit margins traditional manufacturers have been hiding for years. And once that genie's out of the bottle, it can't go back in. Tariffs fractured the market. Recent trade policies created unprecedented pricing chaos, turning the truck market into a house of cards ready to collapse. The trade policy backfire. When new tariffs on auto imports from Mexico and Canada were announced early this year, politicians stood at podiums promising American jobs and manufacturing prosperity. What they delivered was pricing madness. Identical trucks began selling for wildly different prices based solely on which factory assembled them. A Ford F-150 built in Mexico suddenly cost $56,000, while the Michigan-built twin remained at $48,000, despite being the exact same truck. This pricing nonsense destroyed consumer trust overnight. Why would anyone pay MSRP when the sticker has become so obviously meaningless? Buyers turned into amateur detectives, researching VIN codes to determine assembly locations and using that information to extract deeper discounts. Online communities compiled massive spreadsheets linking specific models to production facilities, creating unprecedented market transparency that undermined decades of dealer negotiation tactics. The information asymmetry that dealers relied on evaporated. For manufacturers, these tariffs created impossible choices between eating costs, raising prices, or shifting production, none of which could happen fast enough to prevent market chaos. The result? A pricing structure in free fall with no bottom in sight. The trucks weren't just overpriced, they were mispriced in ways that exposed the entire dealer pricing model as arbitrary and manipulative. Dealer desperation intensifies. Behind the brave faces and business-as-usual marketing, dealerships are panicking as truck inventory piles up with no relief in sight. The silent showroom crisis. The first warning sign wasn't what dealers saw, it's what they didn't see. Customers. Walk-in traffic plummeted over 40% at truck-heavy dealerships. Online inquiries shifted from, "Do you have it?" to, "How much can you take off?" By midsummer, the situation turned desperate. A Ford dealership outside Tulsa reported having more than 300 trucks on the lot, with fewer than 20 potential buyers visiting weekly. That math doesn't work. Each unsold truck costs the dealer roughly $28 per day in floor plan financing, money they're hemorrhaging while waiting for buyers who aren't coming. The psychological impact on sales teams has been devastating. Staff accustomed to controlling negotiations now face the opposite reality, desperate to move inventory at almost any margin. This desperation breeds increasingly aggressive tactics. Inflated trade-in values, hidden incentives, and financing schemes designed to disguise price cuts. Want to know how bad it's gotten? Dealers who once made buyers wait hours to talk to the manager now chase customers to their cars if they try to leave without buying. For buyers who understand what's happening, this creates unprecedented leverage. Many dealerships are now selling trucks at or below invoice, with additional manufacturer incentives creating potential savings of $10,000 to $15,000 below MSRP. But the worst part? Those deals today will look terrible compared to what's coming in 2026. The deceptive discounting. Ever see those ads for trucks starting under $32,000? Ryan did. He drove 50 miles to the dealership, pre-approved loan in hand, ready to buy his first new truck. What he found wasn't what he expected. The advertised truck had roll-down windows, no infotainment screen, manual seats, and tires barely suited for highway driving. No cruise control, no power locks, no tow package. It wasn't even four-wheel drive. This wasn't the truck he wanted. It was bait, what dealers call a loss leader, a stripped base model that exists not to sell but to lure you in. The sales rep immediately steered him toward a much better fit that cost just $5,000 more, then another $5,000 for the features he actually needed. The dealer didn't sell him a truck, they sold him a trap with wheels. This tactic isn't new, but it's become standard practice as dealers struggle to generate showroom traffic. The psychological funnel works because once you're mentally committed to buying, adding just a few thousand more seems reasonable. Then there's the 0% financing scam. It sounds great, no interest, but it typically disqualifies you from thousands in cash rebates. You're not saving money, you're just moving it around. Some dealers even mark up vehicle prices when buyers choose 0% financing, hiding the interest in the purchase price instead. MSRP itself has become a fiction, a number designed to make discounts seem generous when they're actually desperate. Sticker prices remain artificially high while actual transaction prices keep falling through layered incentives and hidden dealer cash that remains invisible unless you specifically ask. This wasn't a loan, it was a leash. Automakers at war with themselves. What began as isolated discounting has escalated into an all-out price war that's erasing a decade of manufacturer profits virtually overnight. The margin collapse. It started with a leaked bulletin from a Ram dealership in Arizona. $12,000 off select 1,500 trims. Small news that shouldn't have made waves, but within days, Ford countered with 0% financing across F-150 inventory. General Motors followed with $10,000 plus trade-in bonuses on Silverados. By mid-August, dealers were stacking incentives, payment credits, and loyalty bonuses to slash transaction prices by 15 to 25% from early 2025 levels. A truck that commanded $65,000 in spring now sells for under $54,000 in many markets before you even start negotiating. This isn't competition, it's self-destruction. Once manufacturers show willingness to cut prices by 5 figures, that psychological anchor permanently resets what buyers expect. You can't suddenly convince someone to pay $15,000 more for the same truck next month. The market only moves in one direction now, down. For manufacturers, this spiral threatens everything. North American trucks have generated roughly 75% of domestic automaker profits for a decade. Those margins subsidized money-losing small cars and funded electric vehicle development. As truck profits vanish, the entire business model collapses. Are you holding off buying until 2026, or did you already get burned? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your story might save someone else thousands. The luxury truck bubble bursts. The premium truck segment that powered manufacturer profits for a decade is imploding, with catastrophic implications for the entire market. The high-end collapse. For years, luxury trucks were Detroit's golden geese. Ford's F-150 Platinum, Ram's Tungsten Edition, and GMC's Denali commanded $80,000, $90,000, even $100,000 plus while delivering profit margins exceeding 30%. These weren't just trucks, they were status symbols. By mid-2025, this luxury bubble began bursting spectacularly. Six-figure trucks now sit on lots for 180-plus days despite increasingly desperate discounts. Lease penetration rates, the percentage of vehicles leased rather than purchased, plummeted from 42% to under 30% for premium trims, a clear signal of evaporating demand. Trade-in values are in free fall. A Ram Tungsten that stickered for $92,000 new now wholesales for approximately $78,000 after minimal use. A $14,000 depreciation hit in months, not years. Owners who paid top dollar last year are discovering their trucks are worth tens of thousands less than they expected. This value collapse created a vicious cycle. Potential buyers, seeing rapidly eroding values, increasingly defer purchases or select lower trims. The premium market that once seemed unstoppable now seems unsalvageable. For manufacturers, this luxury segment implosion is particularly devastating because these high-margin vehicles effectively subsidize their entire truck business. As premium sales and profits simultaneously contract, the pressure to slash costs across all models becomes overwhelming. Trucks used to be about value, then they became about status. Now they're becoming about survival for the companies that build them. This isn't just about truck prices, it's about communities, jobs, and an industry facing its most severe contraction since the 2008 financial crisis. In Flint, Michigan, workers at a major GM plant watched as the second shift was temporarily suspended, corporate language that rarely precedes good news. In Fort Wayne, Indiana, temporary contracts were terminated without notice. In Arlington, Texas, overtime disappeared overnight. These production cuts represent early tremors before the earthquake. The full-size truck segment directly employs over 150,000 American workers, with hundreds of thousands more in the supplier ecosystem. Each manufacturing job supports roughly 7.6 additional positions in the surrounding economy, meaning production declines will devastate entire regions built around automotive manufacturing. For manufacturers, the financial threat is existential. North American trucks have generated approximately 75% of domestic automaker profits for a decade. As these margins vanish, the ability to fund electric vehicle development, meet regulatory requirements, and pay shareholders comes under severe pressure. Wall Street has noticed. Ford and GM shares have dropped 17% and 22% respectively since inventory concerns emerged. The political fallout adds another dimension. State leaders who celebrated tariffs as protection for American workers now face angry constituents experiencing layoffs and economic uncertainty. The policies designed to strengthen domestic manufacturing instead accelerated its contraction, creating accountability questions that will intensify through the 2026 election cycle. This isn't just a sale, it's a wealth transfer. And those who understand the game are walking away with thousands in savings while everyone else gets played. What makes this collapse so revealing is how it contradicts everything executives tell investors and automotive media. While quarterly earnings calls boast about pricing power and strong demand, the reality on dealer lots tells a completely different story, one of desperation and market rejection. The most shocking revelation? This collapse isn't a surprise downturn, but the inevitable correction of a decade-long strategic miscalculation. Internal documents show manufacturers knew years ago they were pushing beyond sustainable price points, but continued the strategy to meet Wall Street's quarterly profit expectations. Even more striking is how this crisis is reshaping power dynamics in the automotive world. For the first time in years, consumers have seized control of the transaction process. Online communities track incentives in real time, compare regional pricing, and expose hidden rebates, creating transparency that permanently alters negotiation leverage. What this collapse really exposes is economic inequality in America. The decade-long truck price escalation represented a massive wealth transfer from consumers to corporations, with average transaction prices rising at more than twice the rate of median household income. This correction isn't just market efficiency, it's economic rebalancing, money flowing back from corporate profits to consumer pockets. For buyers, this market inversion creates both opportunity and risk. Those who understand can secure unprecedented deals on current inventory, but must weigh immediate savings against accelerated depreciation as prices continue falling through 2026. This wasn't just about trucks, it was about who holds the power in America's economy, and for once it's shifting back to you. You've seen the cracks. The question is, will you wait or get played? The American pickup truck market stands on the precipice of an unprecedented price collapse that will accelerate dramatically through 2026. The warning signs are unmistakable. Inventory exceeding 90 days supply, dealership traffic down 40%, and manufacturers offering increasingly desperate incentives that undermine their own pricing strategy. This isn't just another adjustment, but the correction of a fundamental disconnect between what manufacturers build and what Americans can afford. The average full-size truck now commands over $61,000, a 60% increase since 2015 that has pushed ownership beyond reach for the working-class buyers who made these vehicles icons. For potential buyers, the message is clear. Waiting until 2026 will likely save you $15,000 to $25,000 on comparable trucks as manufacturers are forced to realign pricing with economic reality. Today's inventory represents the last gasp of artificially inflated values before market forces trigger a correction that will reshape the entire segment. The factors driving this crash are accelerating: consumer revolt against unsustainable prices, electric disruption from new market entrants, tariff-induced market chaos, dealer desperation as inventory piles up, pricing schemes becoming transparent, manufacturer price wars erasing profits, and the collapse of the luxury truck bubble that supported the entire business model. For manufacturers, dealers, and communities built around truck production, the coming months will be brutal. Production cuts, workforce reductions, and financial pressure will intensify as the market finds a new equilibrium based on what people can actually afford rather than what corporations wish they would pay. But for informed consumers, this correction creates historic opportunities to acquire vehicles at prices reflecting actual value rather than artificial scarcity. Those who understand the dynamics can negotiate from unprecedented strength, because in 2026, the game flips. And the winners? They'll be the ones who watched this video and waited. So if you're done being ripped off, hit subscribe. This isn't the last market to collapse, but it might be the one that finally puts power back in your hands.